Vehicle to grid, the key to energy transition. A new era has begun where electric cars don't just drive and charge, but also actually store and share energy. Hold on, not so fast. It's not quite that simple. Vehicle to grid isn't market ready across Europe, at least not yet. Why is that? Let's find out. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the GoE YouTube channel. I'm Amy, and if vehicle to grid were as easy as it sounds, we'd probably already be using it today. But there are still quite a few hurdles to overcome, legal ones, technical ones, and even a few psychological ones. For example, many people worry that frequent charging and discharging might wear out their car's battery faster, shortening its lifespan and eventually leading to higher replacement costs. But is that really true? In reality, the typical discharge rate for a bidirectional charging is around 3 kilowatts. This is so low that it's very unlikely to harm your battery at all. In fact, when charging bidirectionally at home using an AC charger, the power levels are gentle enough so that it's generally considered safe. And to be extra cautious, some car manufacturers are already building in protective limits. Volkswagen, for instance, sets a minimum battery level of 20% during bidirectional DC charging, just to reduce any potential stress on the battery. Now, another big question is the technology even worth it financially? Sure. The idea of earning money back by feeding electricity back into the grid sounds great, but right now, no one can promise that the actual payments would be enough to make it worthwhile. Take this example. You charge your car at home for 15 cents per kilowatt hour, then you park it overnight. If you were to sell that electricity back into the grid, the operator might only pay you 5 cents per kilowatt hour. Why? Because there's no current system in place to properly negotiate or set the prices. And as long as these uncertainties remain and people don't get clear answers, the excitement around vehicle to grid will probably stay quite limited. That's why communication is key. People need to understand the real benefits. For example, that vehicle to grid could lower their energy costs if the system's designed the right way. Manufacturers should also be more transparent about battery health and how warranties might change once bidirectional charging becomes mainstream. But it's not just about communication. There are still technical boxes to tick before vehicle to grid can hit the market. One major step is finalizing ISO 15118-20 for AC charging. That's the international standard that allows cars and chargers to talk to each other. It's the foundation for vehicle to grid. It's already been completed for DC charging, but the AC version is still in progress. And then there's the legal and economic side. Countries like France are already quite advanced in setting up clear rules and incentives. Other countries like Germany are still ironing things out, like taxation, regulations, and financial rewards for participants. So why the difference? It often comes down to politics, the national energy mix, and how much flexibility a country's grid needs. In Germany, for instance, with its strong focus on renewables like solar and wind, vehicle to grid could help stabilize the grid massively by storing excess green energy during peak production and balancing the grid during peak demand. But Germany still lags behind, partly due to political and regulatory delays. In contrast, Austria, with its heavy reliance on hydropower, has less need for such systems because hydropower is already quite stable. Countries like Poland or France, which have a more traditional energy mix, only offer moderate incentives for peak load management. France is leading the way in bidirectional charging thanks to strong political support for the energy transition and sustainability goals. And with a rapidly growing EV market, France has the perfect testing ground for rolling out technology at this scale. Now, of course, vehicle to grid could technically reach market maturity before all these questions are fully answered. But can we really call it mature if the system surrounding it isn't ready yet? Finally, let's not forget the hardware. To make vehicle to grid work, wall boxes and charging stations need to support bidirectional power flow, both in hardware and software. Some DC chargers can already do that, but they're very expensive. That's why manufacturers like GoE are working on affordable wall boxes that are already equipped with the right hardware. The only thing missing? The software, especially for real-time energy exchange and billing. And that can't be fully developed until the legal market frameworks are in place. There are already several electric cars like the Nissan Leaf, Volvo EX90, Cupra Born, and Polestar 3 that are technically ready for vehicle to grid. But since key standards like ISO 15118-20 for AC charging aren't finalized yet, and the required software and regulatory frameworks are still under development, the technology can't yet be used in everyday life. So as you can see, there are still quite a few challenges to overcome before vehicle to grid can really take off. But what do you think? Is vehicle to grid the future of our energy system, or are the barriers still too big right now? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to start a proper discussion. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Amy from GoE.